Alright, quick TA update on Avalanche. So we're going to start off in this video talking about the market structure, talking about the fractal with the EMA ribbons on the daily that we have been playing out time over time after time again, and how every time we've been having these breakdowns. We'll be talking about the volume and the money that is flowing in and out of the market, and then we will be wrapping up talking about the oscillators, talking about our momentum indicators and where we're likely to head down to next. So as always, let's talk about what we predicted in the last video. We were saying, we highlighted this fractal where every single time we come into the daily EMA ribbons, you know, I don't want to zoom out like a million years. Let's start from this trend because we did have a couple of fake outs of this. So let's start from the most recent time that the daily EMA ribbons flip bearish. You can see we retest, we make a lower low and a lower high, breakdown, lower low, lower high, breakdown. Every time you come up into these daily EMA ribbons and you fall out of them, you absolutely capitulate to the downside and make a lower low after making that lower high. What have we done? We've once again solidified another lower high in the market structure, and now it seems that AVAX is going to be heading down to the downside. Volume is also predictive of price, as they say in volume speaks volumes. We've got an increase in bearish volume stepping in the past couple of days, and this is also highlighted in the MFI. The money flow indicator is falling to the downside, meaning that people are selling their AVAX at this moment in time. People are getting out of the market, and you know, as you can see, it's pretty much the same with every crypto. I mean, at this moment in time, Bitcoin has also come into the 4-hourly EMAs, made a rounding top and started to head down. Its momentum indicators like the squeeze mom and the MACD are all flipping bearish right now. So everything points to lower price targets for Bitcoin, altcoins, the stock market. And subsequently, you know, this is not just against Avalanche. Every single crypto is going to be heading down very, very soon, just like we've been talking about for a while. In the last video, let's head over to the daily. Where were we? We must have been here. We were on the 10th of June. It's been a little while since I covered AVAX, but we basically highlighted here as we were losing momentum and falling out of the falling to the downside after retesting these daily EMA ribbons, we were going to come down. This is what we predicted all the way back on the 10th of June, and after that prediction we fell 43%, and I was predicting a 60.5% drop, and I subsequently do still believe that is coming into fruition. So another 49.9, basically 50%, another 50% to the downside is what we are going to be seeing for Avalanche. I really don't think we need to complicate it any more than that. If we do look at the 4-hourly time frame, you can already see while the daily money flow is starting to head down, the 4-hour has already started to drastically sell off. I imagine in the lower time frames like the 1 hour, if we do come up to like 1950, retest the hourly EMA ribbons, this will have a slight relief rally, and subsequently we'll be getting ready for that next major flush out after we have a major capitulation below $18.85. This is basically where the 4-hourly, the long-term moving average on the 4-hourly EMA ribbons are, and if we do lose this, we're going to start to see a pretty big slide back down. So my price target is $9.47. Where do I get this price target from? I should actually draw this as green because this is in a Fibonacci. I always draw, if you're new to the channel, warm welcome. I always draw the orange lines as Fibonacci's. So down here, this would be a Fibonacci line. This is just a support line from the double back test of the lows around about 940. So this is where I think we're coming down to. Once again, don't need to overcomplicate it. Another 50% drop to the downside is going to be in play before we do see any sort of major relief rally for Avalanche. With that being said, let's look at the momentum indicators and see if these agree with us. So on the squeeze bomb, this has been stagnating for quite some period of time now. You can see it's been stagnating for the bulls for much longer. You've got highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, and bulls are really running out of momentum, more such as the bears. I mean, the bears, these have been coming up for pretty big rallies recently, and subsequently you can see bears have only been losing momentum since we basically started lollygagging around these regions here. Since that's happened, we are now getting rejected from some major areas and heading back down to the downside. So I think it's pretty clear that we are going to be heading down to $9.46 rather. If we do look at the daily time frame, let's see, because the squeeze bomb is stagnant right now, so we'll head over to the lower time frames in a sec. Let's talk about the rest of these. The OBV, the on balance volume, is massively heading down. Lower lows, lower highs everywhere, not looking good for the OBV. The MACD as well, this is very, very bearish. You can see you've got highs up here, you've got lower highs for the bullish momentum, and to the downside what you're seeing is lows for bearish momentum, lower lows, and lower lows. Bear in mind, higher highs is bullish on the upside, and lower lows is bearish on the downside, because this is how much momentum we're having to the downside. So you can imagine every lower low just means bears are getting stronger and stronger. And subsequently, if we do follow this market structure where we do start to top out round about this region, we're really going to see the MACD cross very, very harshly and start to push us down pretty quickly. So 4 hourly time frame squeeze bomb is also having a brutal flush to the downside. We've already flipped very, very heavily bearish on the 4 hourly MACD, and we've started to capitulate below the heart line already. So this should be indicative that we're about to have a major flush out. If we look at the OBV as well, it looks like we're creating something like a rounding top. We're probably going to be heading back down to the bottom of this structure, meaning once again a very, very harsh flush out for Avalanche. Once again, you know, we called this like when do we call this? We were talking about this round about the 11th of June, round about this range over here, and I still do think that we are going to be coming down to 946. Once again, this was a 60% drop we were predicting. We came down 43%, and even on this bounce, we still didn't make it back up to these previous highs. We're down 21.7% since my initial prediction, and I think once again we're going to continue with another 50% or so back down to the downside. Once again, this is not just Avalanche, this is all of the altcoins. Bitcoin, as you can see, this is not bullish. We're heading down, we're getting rejected, and it's just not looking good right now. So, you know, I only tell this to you for your benefit. I do not think this looks good. Just like we've been saying for the past couple of videos, everything is heading down. The stock market's heading down, the dollar is heading up. These are two punches in the gut for Bitcoin, and subsequently, if Bitcoin's going to continue with this capitulation to the downside, we are also going to see Avalanche start to pick up the momentum. So, you know, on the higher time frames with the momentum for Avalanche, it may not have started to kick in right now, but if we do look at the momentum on Bitcoin on the daily time frame, you can see that this is really only the downtrend hasn't really even started for Bitcoin, but we are getting an increase in bearish volume, and subsequently this is dripping over to the lower time frames. You're starting to see Bitcoin flip very, very bearish on the lower time frames, just like we're seeing Avalanche flip bearish on the lower time frames. These are all going to tie together, and this is going to help the Avalanche price capitulate to round about that 946 that we've been talking about you know, since all the way back here. So that's all I've got for Avalanche. I think it's going to go lower before it goes higher. That's all I've got for you. As always, Cowboy out. Peace.